Ready? Paula, ready?
Ready, Paul? We're ready.
I'd like to call the meeting to order for August 11th, 2020. Please rise for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty. Roll call. Here. 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 Okay, and we will have minutes to approve for next. Move on to financial reports. I'll make a motion to pay our expenditures. We'll have a second. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I'll take the time now to apologize that with our WebEx people joining us, if they can't hear us.
And it's several sound tests.
With the fan on.
No, not with fan on. It's recording fairly well. It should be okay.
Do we have anybody?
We have 5.
Good. You'll monitor if they want to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then we will go on to our visitors. I'd like to introduce Jack Reynolds.
Make sure you keep up that. I can get your microphone if you need one, but nobody used it last night, so it's great out. Need it?
I would let you know. Better, I hope. Oh, there we go. There we go. How you doing? Thank you all for coming. We were here June 23rd, and questions, and we said we would come back, try to answer the questions the best that we could, in order to, fully educate everybody about what we're proposing. So again, tonight I'd like to thank the Township Trustees for allowing us to come and again, speak to you all and give you some information and allow some interaction. What I thought I would do tonight, starting off, is to kind of go over what A7 Travel Solution does and how their operation currently operates down at 7280 Salretto. They are a over-the-road, long-haul, expedited delivery company. Now, that is not an Amazon, not a UPS, or anything along that line. They have a particular service that they offer to their customers. And right now, they have 63 box trucks. Those are 15-foot in length. And this is, again, what they look like. They do not have semi-trailers. They do not employ semi-trailers. All 63 of their vehicles are box trucks. They are less than or about 10,000 pounds in weight. And one of the questions last time was, why don't our drivers have CDL licenses? And the reason being is that if the truck is less than 26,001 pounds, you're not required to have a CDL license. So all you're required to do to drive these trucks is have a driver's license, I think be 21 years old, and be healthy, more or less. So those are the qualifications. You're not required to have a CDL. That was one of the questions that we were asked. Those 63 trucks are driven by 63 drivers. The rest of the employees are office help, dispatchers, and maintenance. And there are 15 of those people employed at the operation on Saw, and that to be the regular number thereabouts. So one of the questions that we were asked the last time was, you know, what are the expectations for the use of the facility? How do we see, how does it currently operate at 7280? Now, on a daily basis, the office and maintenance facility is about a 9, 8 in the morning to 6 p.m. at night. So there will be approximately 15 people who will arrive to the site in the morning, and 15 people who will leave the site in the evening. They do have an overnight dispatch person, so there will be somebody there 24 hours a day, but that's just one person. So the question was, what are our expectations in terms of people coming and going from the site on a regular basis? And it's those 15 people. That's it. Now, what is remarkable or what's different about this service that they provide is, again, it is a long haul service. So the vans themselves sit on the site empty. They don't store anything at the site. None of the vans come in with this material and they leave it in the van. These vans come in without any cargo. What's interesting about these operators is that they come in with their own vehicle, they park it, they go get in their empty van, and they leave. And what these gentlemen and ladies who drive these vehicles do is they go around the United States for anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks. It's called hot shot. So they may go from Detroit to Odessa, Texas, with a package or a piece of machinery. And what the dispatcher does is they simply tell them to go to another city and pick up another delivery, go to another location. So these trips are all going independently. They go, you know, independently. Each driver is sent to a different place, and they don't all do it at the same time. So what you will be looking at our site, basically, here was the site plan that we had last time. It's basically a parking lot for employees. Here, it is a parking lot for the box trucks. And we have the office component and the dispatcher, and we have the proposed maintenance building. So the question was last time, you know, what should our expectations be? And there may be days where nobody's coming in the truck, depending on where they are, what the expectations are. There may be a day where there are 2 or 3 trucks coming and going, but it's not a regularly timed schedule. It's not like Amazon or FedEx, where everybody comes to the one location, it loads up, and it drives around Central Ohio, drops off the packages, and comes back. So there will not be a concentration of trucks coming and going from the site on a regular basis. But that's what they do in terms of maintenance of the vehicles. Trucks will come in. The gentlemen or ladies who are driving the trucks will park the vehicle. They will go get in their own car and go home for anywhere from a week to whatever time that. The rest of the people, there may be a number of trucks that sit on the site unused. But again, they come, they go, and they stay away for 1 to 3 weeks. So that's the type of operation that you can expect in terms of, what will we see on Lambert, what will we see on 665? Very little traffic gets generated. Again, this is not a retail type of operation. It's not an operation where people will drive in to seek service. It's primarily through the phone or internet. So, again, it's the people who come to work there that make people involved. Yes.
Step over here in front of Paul and I. They're having over here.
Oh, over here?
Yeah, just step right in front of Paul and I.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fine. That way you can, I know you need your easel, but you can maybe hear you a little bit better.
Okay, sorry about that. So that's it. We do not employ semi-trailers. There may be times when deliveries are made with larger trucks because we will be getting parts, picking up parts for recycling, the delivery of motor oil, removal of the motor oil, etc. So there may be some larger trucks periodically, once or twice a month, that do visit the site. So that's that expectation. The next thing is the zoning. And we talked about it last time. What we're proposing is the select commercial plan district. Again, it is a district that you create the standards for, and it requires a text and a site plan. And so there's a text that we will be submitting that details the limited types of activities that can take place on the site, and only those activities would be permitted under the text or the ultimate district that's approved for the site. And again, the site is the old Hemans, I do believe, landscape nursery. It was interesting looking back at the site. Hemans purchased it in 1962. And at one point in time, it said that they had 100,000 square feet of greenhouse here. So it was a pretty big operation at that point in time. What we will show you here this evening is the site plan. There's a sub-area A, which will be the A7 operation. And then sub-area B is simply going to be a single-family home, and that's the only permitted use under sub-area B. Again, what we will be showing as a this is the area. This is the area where the greenhouse stood. It's a gravel area. It's compacted. We do have a relevant septic system site that we're going to utilize. We're proposing a 5,000 square foot office. There will be an addition, storage building, maintenance facility. And the question was, what type of a building code would that be under the Ohio Basic Building Code? And it's an S1, storage 1, it's the classification. So that was asked the last time. Stormwater detention is a part of this calculation. The rest of the tail that goes off to the west will not be utilized. It will stay in an undeveloped state. There's about a 4.9 acre area that we're reutilizing. That means that out of the 8.9, about 3.9 is going to be unused as part of this. We've also, as a requirement under the code, is that we will be screening the entire area with a 6-foot-high chain link fence with the slats in it to provide at least a 60% opacity fencing along the outside of the parking area through here. And then behind it, the code requires that there be 6-foot-high shrubbery to provide additional screening to the abutting properties. So we put screening along Lambert Road, we'll put screening along parking areas. There will be screening here to the rear, and then the buildings will provide screening to the areas to the rear here. Again, that is all to minimize the impact on the community. We're reducing the current price Again, those will all be a part of the application that will be submitted to Franklin County. You know, you submit it, you go through the Rural Zoning Commission and then the county commissioners. So that's it in a nutshell. You know, I think it will briefer than the time we spent last time. But if there are any questions, once again, please ask and we'll try to answer. Yes, ma'am.
No,
I just said that. Yeah.
Yeah, what's the difference between A7 Travel Solutions and A7 Transport?
That was me speaking as it's travel solutions, correct?
But there's also transport, because I have documents in the Secretary of State.
Yes, it's the doing business at DBA.
So the parent company is Travel Solutions
Yes.
and the DBA is. When I looked at I noticed they were with some certain provisions. And one of the provisions I noticed was that there would be no inoperable vehicles kept on the property. On Stall Road, there are wrecks, trucks, and automobiles that have been there for months. Just as a side comment, I appreciate the fact that we picked up the mattress and the trash and that they're doing some more. But that only happened after we had that meeting with them. So what recourse do we have down the road? If they get their zoning, there's really no emphasis for them to follow up on any of the zoning things that they're required to do. Is there a limit on parking places in that setting? I can say 65 units now. Businesses doing life is great. None of us died from COVID, so they need more trucks. Is this going to expand from 65 to 165?
I doubt it seriously. I mean, the current site at Stall is small. And that's why they're looking for a place. So, yeah. How big? Yeah.
How many parking places are there?
We're 140 that are
So
large.
potentially they can have 140 trucks. I mean, I'm sure they put this Stall Road thinking it's going to be very valuable. They've obviously my concern is going from 165 to, how you say, 140 spaces. The maintenance.
Building, so still building, it will be a pole barn to the degree that, you know, it'll have a slab concrete floor. It will be steel construction. I think that was my understanding when we started all of that. I do know that the filing deadline for the rezoning is the 18th of this month. The hearing dates are online. I did not look at when we would be in front of the boards, but the already accord filing deadline is the 28th of August.
And is that, tell me the chronological order, like the garbage board and
You go file it with the county. The next step is the Regional Planning Commission. Then from the Regional Planning Commission, is the Rural Zoning Commission, and it's the County Commission. And in that, done the big garden about midway through the again, I don't remember the dates. I just was in it when I did it.
The last time I looked, everything.
Okay.
And then tech review.
Tech review is usually the, you'll say, it's like 2 weeks after you file, simply so that the reviewing agency has an opportunity to review it, comment at tech review.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. For your attention, first of all, the site plan you have there. Am I correct in assuming that there would be a similar site plan that your client put together when 7280 Skull Road was done?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, was the client in compliance with that?
Yes, sir.
100%.
I do believe we've got the fencing and the buildings are where the buildings were supposed to be and the parking is where they're supposed to be.
So, wow, I'm surprised you didn't say that. I believe that's true. Okay? That's not my understanding, but I'll let that go. So, how many non-running vehicles are at 7280 South Solid Road?
I personally don't know.
Well, so the site, let me ask you a question. The site plan that your client had approved, how many non-running vehicles were in the site plan? Now, you heard that we use the salvage yard basically now. So when you did the site plan for 7280 Skull Road, how many non-running vehicles were in the site plan?
All we're required to provide is parking spaces.
So when you, good faith effort, when you submitted the zoning for 7280, or your client did for 7280 Skull Road, did the people that had an opportunity to react, did they expect any non-running vehicles, or did you give a similar presentation to give now, where we're now traffic? Was the original plan to store a bunch of non-running vehicles?
That, if they're there, again, it's a zoning issue, and if they're there for too long, then
The reason I asked, it should be obvious, if you're asking for us to be interested in your client's redevelopment of some property on Randall Road, and quite honestly, the client doesn't have a good track record. I mean, it looks a business, let's be honest. It's not something you would not want to build your house next to that property, I guarantee you. So you're asking us to be in favor of something that's, you haven't been a good steward of. I mean, let's be honest, not something that's very appealing. So you don't know how many non-running vehicles are there, and you know how many flatbeds would take the whole way over the refuse there, things that don't run, and all the spare parts that we taken off.
I do not. I don't operate.
But you would agree that there's a bunch of salvage parts that are sitting on the property, is that true?
I can't agree to that, no.
I can tell you it's true. So let me ask you this, if the zoning is changed the way you want it to be, what legal prohibition prevents your client from repurposing the property in the future, or a subsequent owner from repurposing in the future, within the guidelines of the actual zoning, the way it's specifically zoned? And you're telling us right now that, this zoning and that zoning for this part of the property, that part of the property, that's all well and good. But we all know that there's some wiggle room within the zoning, within the code. So, there's nice use of application of the code, and there's not very nice looking application of the code. What's prevent your client from basically trashing this new property? I guess that's what I'm at. But they trash the property they have now. I'm a very direct, straight up person, but they trash what they have, and they want permission from us to develop some new property. And I'm just curious, why should we be in favor of that? That's my question. Why should we be in favor of redevelopment of this property, given what your client has done to the existing property? That's the question. I'd like to.
let me look into it. I would like to ask the question too and look at what you.
Well, you're representing, that's right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the question is not something that needs research. What lawyers think on their feet, that's true, I mean. That's
Try.
what they do.
We try.
Okay, so I'm asking you to do that now. Given the fact that your client has trashed the property they have today on Salt Road, why should we be in favor of this property being redeveloped by the same client on another road? That's the question, please answer. If an appropriate answer is not, I'll check into it. The answer would be whatever you have to say.
Again, I don't operate the facility. Now, I would, again, we are getting some feedback. And so the point being is that if it's perceived to be improperly run, then it should be properly run.
It's not a perception, it's a fact. And I can tell you, based on your, come up with a good answer now, I'm in person very vocal. When the county tried to cut stuff, we've done very involved in that. But you're not getting a satisfactory answer. And it's like, well, look into it, I'm sorry, is that right? That's really not.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well,
The service.
I was kind of hard of hearing. Did you say you had 53 or 63?
63. 63.
63. Is that including the one sitting at Fall Road?
That what?
Does that number include the trucks that are sitting at Fall and Benton now?
Yes, sir.
Hell, you ain't got any trucks on the road, and there's 70 sitting there.
And again, they had some trouble with the annex.
I mean, the last meeting I was here, you was here.
Yeah.
You said that you have outgrown the facility at Fall and Benton. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So, in all, if you've outgrown one, you've got to move something. So you're going to move all that junk over the Lambert Road? Or are you going to keep those facilities?
I don't think they're going to keep the other facility. Again, it's too
So
small.
them trucks and wreck cars and whatever, they're going to have to do something. Unless you want to open up a drug yard. You know, they call it that.
Not permitted. Yes, ma'am.
On the drawing that you have here, the shop that they're going to be working on the trucks in, is that going to be right out there in front where the offices are?
Doors.
Basically on top of them.
You will enter through the rear of the building. There won't be overhead doors along the front of the building. So it's a rear access building.
Do they work on their vehicles at night when they're delivering stuff? Is that when that stuff is open?
The hours operation are 8 to 6, 9 to 6.
No, but if the trucks are out on the road, they're not going to be able to change the oil and inspections and that. They have to do that when the truck is there, so they'll do that at 9.
Normally what happens is the trucks come in and sit for a while. Simple.
Yeah.
For a long time. But there's more than enough time to work on them inside during regular work hours. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Heard a lot of comments about care and maintenance of this property. About 6 weeks ago, we came here for the briefing. We mentioned grass cutting and the current upkeep of this property. Took 6 weeks. It's funny, just 2 days before this meeting, we're back out mowing. You say you won't know semi-tractor trailer. There has been, up until 2 days ago, a white semi-tractor trailer. It's not a sleeper, it's a single cab with about a 28-30-foot trailer. It's a semi-tractor and a box truck. I'd like to ask who owns that? that rig, why was it parked there? Is that part of the story? Is that now on the road? Is that part of the fleet?
That's not part of the fleet from what I understand.
Or you do own a semi-type vehicle?
Mr. Burnett says no. It was parked there for somebody else.
That's a problem. You allow other vehicles. So the question, you allow other vehicles to park in
Not under what we're proposing.
Was it under what you're proposing for the other property?
At that point in time, again, the discussion was just about use of the property. And you all showed interest in the operation. So we're coming forward with more information about the operation as it currently stands.
One more question, please. Are you familiar with the Township Comprehensive Master Plan?
Yes, sir.
And where is commercial development supposed to be located in the township?
Supposed to be down at 62 and 71.
And much more, not only that, but for what possible, I'm curious, sir, as the representative of what possible justification can you give us as residents and trustees for any kind of deviation from that township comprehensive master plan? What possible?
Well, I mean, I think that you have to look at the history of the property. History of the property was a commercial use. Now, maybe with a wink and a nod, but 100,000 square feet of greenhouse, I counted there were 50 marked parking spaces out in front. I also understand that there was a retail operation going on. You could go in and buy flowers and garden equipment, etc. So there are anomalies out there. This certainly would not be what I would characterize as a single-family buildable site, nor could you go in and plant crops on it. I mean, it has been degraded over the years with gravel and action. So I can acknowledge that a plan that was adopted.
They got the drain, you go before they went under.
But you would say, despite the retail, the nature of the work is agriculture. Like greenhouses are by nature agriculture.
Yes,
So if a farmer has a farm stand up in front of his 100 acres, like you would not argue that it's now moved into a commercial application.
that is a commercial application.
How is it zoned? How is it zoned? That's the question.
It's zone rural. But it started small and got big.
Anybody go down?
As I look at it, the greenhouses on there are pretty tight. I mean, I agree that they didn't buy any more and they didn't move out to the finger, but that is certainly a compact use of the property.
Is there any provision for those 3.9 acres that are not within the compound? Is there any protection that the vehicle will not be outside of that?
Yes, because the stuff that will be adopted or could be adopted does not show any parking on it whatsoever. And the county is very strict on usage of property. As a matter of fact, on 782, the property owner wanted to tear down one of the smaller buildings and put up a slightly larger building. He had to rezone the property in order to utilize a larger building. So again, you can't just simply creep out. The county is very vigilant.
But let's just say, argue, and I know there's a slight change. Truck season, and there's a code violation. What is the process for residents?
long are we looking outside of the compound before a code violation is issued?
I tell you what, Paul Ebert is the code enforcement officer for this area of the county. And the owners, after purchase property, went in to clean out the house and make it habitable again, more or less. And within 2 days after that activity, they received a letter about getting proper permits for any type of interior construction that are in code on that property. So, season about it. I've got with Paul on a lot of properties and Paul, he'll take care of it.
And keep in mind, there are 2 code enforcement officers for all of
And split it in He gives them 2 weeks in order to clean it up, or he tries to ratchet it up. The next step is going to either common police court or environmental court.
So, and ultimately, fines are issued within what time frame of the original code violation? 60 days? 90?
It depends upon what the issues are.
Right, so inoperable to be on the property outside of the compound for 3 months.
Yes, because you have to get in front of the judge, and the judge would have to order removal or penalty.
Yes, I'd like to back up to a gentleman's comment about the comprehensive development plan and point out that that plan, we worked on that for about 2 years. It was approved in 2010 by Township Trustees, by the Franklin County Commissioner. Amon's Nursery was in existence long before we developed that plan. Part of that plan, as we recognize this was a agrarian and rural community, was to stay that way. That's how come we did not put commercial property where the existing Amon property is. It's all out on 62 where there's good access for commercial activities. Also, I have a question on your parking facilities for the trucks. You said that was compacted gravel.
Yes, sir.
Any intentions to pave that?
We asked for a waiver not to. Now, that's up to the
Okay.
different boards to make a determination.
What I've seen over at Stoll and Denton, that you have some pretty ragged trucks. It's going to be transmission fluid leaks, oil leaks, gasoline leaks, and you're right on the edge of the Darby Accord. And if memory serves me, that is a protected resource. As a matter of fact, all the property surrounding that area under the Darby Accord is under their zoning 100% conservation.
Yes, sir.
I think everybody in the room agrees that the property on Saul Road at best looks like a scrapyard. I think we all agree that we'd rather see greenhouses as well. That's in the past. However, mentioned earlier, the screening on this site is to be similar to what you have on Saul Road. Like I said, it looks like a scrapyard at best. Is your client willing to go back, bring the township additional proper screening that makes that junkyard, for lack of a better term, invisible to the neighbors and to the front of their road? And I'm suggesting, maybe an 8-foot brick wall with a limestone cap or something that is appropriate, not a slat fence that's at Salt Road is offensive. You're saying that's the same screening that you're proposing at this site, and that looks like a strategy. Again, you can compare what we're used to seeing greenhouses, all the buying plants and flowers from years for years, to what now is being proposed as scrap yard. You can drive down the street and see it. You can see it. Are they prepared to come back with a better option at a minimum?
Yes, sir.
To keep that invisible.
Yes, sir. One of the things that is proposed in this plan is the fence on the exterior. And then on this side, there will be a green hedge. Once along type of fence, all the way around the fence area. So you will have a double layer of screening. That is, again, they're moving the fence, then I think it's 21, something along that line, before you're allowed to utilize the paving or the gravel areas. So there will be a green space that will have the evergreen shrubbery that will provide additional,
I appreciate the answer. Again, the feedback would be, we've got a concern with maintenance because we see the lack of it at Stoll Road. But when we're talking about shrubs, same concern with maintenance. Are they willing to come back with something more concrete, more appropriate? That slatted fence at Stoll Road, I will not be there, and it looks beat up and unmaintained as well. But again, I'm proposing something along the lines of a brick wall, something architecturally complementary to the neighborhood that doesn't need or require high maintenance to satisfy neighbors and keep that lot invisible to neighbors. Okay?
I'm not positive, but I don't know zoning would allow a wall. Zoning dictates like the fence, the slatted fence.
Is there another option of creating?
And I'm not,
at like vinyl that would be more long serving, I mean, in terms of the ability to maintain it. You know, I found that wood begins to rot and warp and everything in the weather here. So, you know, what we can do is look at some of the different options that might be available to us.
Yes, appreciate it. Zoning doesn't allow this commercial lot right now either. I think there's got to be at a minimum really good screening plan.
I know they will, they like green space screening, but I believe a big problem is the trust and how you've taken care of the property you have now, because you didn't, zoning required a certain amount of greenery around what you have now, and you didn't put it all in.
You tell me, what benefit are you bringing to the township by coming further up into the township around a lot more people and everything? Because you brought no benefit to the folks you're at now. So what benefit are you giving us as a township if we're going to put that in? What benefit? No, there's got to be a benefit. What is the benefit to us as a township that you want to put that on that property when you haven't been able to maintain the site you're on now? But give me the answer. What's the benefit to us?
I think it's, you know, it's been a township business for the last 5 years.
What benefit are you bringing? Not what it's been, but right what you are bringing into us. What benefit are you bringing to us?
We're proposing to reuse a site that currently looking a little rough, maybe. I mean, it's been vacant for quite a bit of time, and the grass was overgrown and, you know, I think hopefully we're getting some comments that will help us reutilize the site.
Jack, could you explain, since it's, right now it's zoned rural,
Yes.
and our commercial is at 6271. What's the first step you have to take to make it select commercial? For that to change, what happens?
What has to happen or what has happened?
What has happened? Well, both.
Okay. You know, the site was used commercially for a number of years. I mean, there's historical precedent. Obviously, the ladies that purchased it couldn't operate it as a nursery, and so they went out of business and needed to get rid of the property. Nobody's going to come in and buy that 9 acres, house site, or farm it, or use it for any of those types of activities because it is degraded basically for 30 or 40 years worth of use. And obviously they weren't able to operate a nursery on the site because they went out of business. So you're stuck with a 9 acre or 4 acre that is currently or has been used commercially. And so what I think that we saw was an opportunity to utilize a site that had been used commercially. So seeing that, the thinking was, well, let's relocate. We understand from rural, you got to go through this process to get entitlement and you know, reuse the property. So that's how we got to this point tonight. Was simply to point out and you know, get the information and get information as to what we'd like to do on the property.
So it's zoned rural right now.
Right now, yes, ma'am.
And so to change it to select commercial planning district,
We filed the application with the county. We have we had a hearing with the Regional Planning Commission, who makes a recommendation. Then you have a Rural Zoning Commission, who makes a recommendation. And then the final body that makes the actual rezoning is the Franklin County Commissioners. So that is, that's October the 13th. Hearing in front of the county commission.
so the planning,
The Regional Planning Commission,
you think that's going to be this month?
no, it would be next month.
I thought I saw it this week, for this month.
Yeah. You know, you file it and then you move forward. So normally you have the meeting with the rural zoning, I mean, with the select, well, with the Regional Planning Commission the following month. And then about 2 weeks later, you're in front of the Rural Zoning Commission. And a couple of weeks later, you're in front of the county commission. But they may have canceled it this month because there may not have been anything on the docket, but I haven't seen that the September.
Right, I saw August was
Yeah.
canceled. So at the planning commission, regional planning commission, do they have the authority that it can go no further if they say no?
They just make a recommendation, period, and it's a non-binding. Then you go to the Rural Zoning Commission, and they make a recommendation. And both of those recommendations go to the county commissioners, and then they have the final say. They're the big chiefs.
And I just wanted everyone to know You are not required to come here in front of the trustee board.
I, again, because Franklin County operates the zoning for the township, I feel it's prudent to come and meet with trustees, simply to let them know what's going on in their township.
And we appreciate that.
Does Franklin County accept your advice? Do they come to the trustees of the township for advice when it's presented to something?
No, it could very easily have just gone by if Jack and they had not came to the meeting.
Okay.
We could have just listened.
If the regional planning commission and the rules of the both say, no, not so much. Based on your experience, how often does the Franklin County Commission?
Every case is different. That's all I can say. You'd like to have everybody supporting what you're proposing. Because it obviously gets more difficult each time.
Has it ever happened?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I can address that, yes, it has happened. Several years back, they wanted to convert the properties up for a super service and the old restaurant and the golf station into a heavy equipment storage facility. There was a petition right underway, put it on the ballot, unfortunately, reject that request overturned. So, yes, it has happened.
How many vehicles do they plan?
I don't think they're planning to store vehicles there.
They're gonna work on it, right?
It's supposedly a hot shotting operation.
Okay, my concern would be for the people who live around here that have water. You have heat, brake lines, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, gasoline, contaminated air wells. Maintenance sufficient for that.
I mean, you gotta have a maintenance.
They're not on.
And a leach field.
Well, that's the same.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be allowed to open, don't you have to be inspected? For that type of thing?
I think you have to be in a hard surface in order to bring it in and work on it.
Yeah, but they're parts. Okay? If it's a little, they put their own stuff on the work on it.
We have time for one or two more questions if you have something different. If someone wants to bring it up.
Yes, sir.
So, earlier, you said the zoning requires them not to have inoperable vehicles, is that correct?
Again, that's an enforcement issue, yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you do have them currently at your site, because a bunch of people have mentioned that you do. So you don't go with zoning laws, but you expect us to believe the promises that you're giving us.
And I'm listening to you. So I appreciate the comments. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the drivers. Did you say there are 63 or 65 trucks, box trucks?
63 is,
And there's 63 drivers?
it fluctuates, I mean,
And
here's,
those drivers are not required to have CDL licenses, correct?
that is correct.
So they're required to be age 18. And he says they have to be age 18, have a driver's license, and be in good health. How do you determine their health? if they don't have a CDL license, and are they drug tested?
They have to get a medical card. Okay.
So I know that the CDL license are required, that I just didn't know, since they don't have to have a CDL, how we determine that.
For the medical card,
There's a medical card.
Medical card.
I have a real quick question. You know, in light of the fact that 2009, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners adopted the Pleasant Township Comprehensive Plan. We all love that. We have a plan going forward that of that plan, that doesn't become lost. That we believe and we stand behind the efforts that Pleasant Township has done, commissioners supported that plan. And we have a comprehensive kind of plan from the Pleasant Township Board on how to go forward. The consensus is we want to keep that plan intact.
If you want to talk to me after the meeting, we'll see how we can go about doing it. Okay, Carla?
If the information you have at the facility that you have now, is the plan to move everything that's there to the property? To like move out, vacate that property and bring it all into the complex?
I will have a discussion with the owners to see what their plans are. I can't speak.
Well, I know. The stuff that's there, I don't.
Okay.
So it would only take an hour of your time. And again, I appreciate your all's comments and I will look at them. And we'll huddle up and see what we can do to make the situation better.
Thank you.
Again,
Thanks for coming. Okay. We will move on now to our department reports. Deputy Carter.
I'm actually kind of pretty informal that way. Good evening. This report is from July 28th to August 11th. We had a total of service calls in Pleasant Township of 195. That's 17 more than 2 weeks prior. And most of those, for whatever reason, that's reported that way because that includes our self-initiated traffic stops. And from 2 weeks prior, that's actually 20 more than what we had the last time. So that's why there was such a big increase in phone call for service. We made 12 reports. That's 9 less than 2 weeks prior. We made 4 arrests. That's even from 2 weeks prior. We had 1 burglary. That was on Johnson Road on August 10th. We had 3 motor vehicle thefts. That's 2 less than 2 weeks prior. On Darby Road on July 28th, July 30th. And that actually is kind of a civil issue. The gentleman let someone he knew borrow his car and they never brought it back when agreed upon. But that still kind of falls in on motor theft. Then we had one on Harrisburg, Georgesville Road on August 10th. We had 4 thefts. That is 1 more than 2 weeks prior. 2 of them on Old Harrisburg. And that is both of those were from August 3rd
One was early in the morning, and they called back and found there was one that was missing. That's all I'm saying. I had one on Darby Road, that goes back to the motor theft. That was, we found out his fishing gear was missing from the car. That was on July 31st. We had one on West London Road on July 29th. We had 5 West related ones. That's one more than 2 weeks prior. We had one on the area of Big Derby on July 29th. The area of Brownsville Road, July 31st. Another one on August 1st, Brownsville Road, August 7th or August 2nd, London Groveport Road, and one on Young Road on August 8th. That is what I have for now. I've been in touch about some Lambert Road. We're going to start looking into speed trailers. My cohort is still using Lincoln Zone 2, so it's supposed to be getting active for the next week. Any other questions? Hey, what do you, what kind of time of day are you looking for?
Any time of day.
More
We
specific?
farm out there, and we have horses there, we have livestock in there, regardless of when you're doing anything, like over the weekend. You know, they're passing farm equipment on the right hand, on the left hand side, you get the left, and just speed up the road.
Having more specific than where they kind of narrow it down.
6811.
And then any particular time of day, that's all
I was gonna tell you. A little extra, but it's all day long. They don't seem to do it on the sheriff's department. They like to do it there.
shrubbery, tree. It's like one tree growing there. So I can go look at it and see kind of what the state requires. And then offer the property. Yes, I did. Look left, back down the middle. It's really hard to see. It's getting better. Some of it. That's actually. Okay, thank you. All right, if you have any questions on these, it's fine. My contact information. Or, have any concerns or questions, don't hesitate to give me a call. I'll leave it up here. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go on to road department. Robert?
Started on the cemetery. We're having to take down people. I met with the man everything is going good. He said when we were done, they were done, staining the blocks. I think it was like kind of dark like the picture and activity. Does it, the picture, send it to you guys. Prove it before you see it. So it could be darker or whatever. And for the one part, I'm gonna have to run a saw that cut through that big block to match the angle. Hopefully, by the end of the week, middle of next week, we should finish wrapping up. That's all I have except for cemetery. This is probably a lot of our time here. Stuff like that. That's all I have.
Anything else? Hey, Chief?
All right, good evening, everybody. For the month of August, or for the month of July, we had 104 runs. Okay, my glasses on, I apologize. So far to date in August, for the first 10 or 11 days, we've had 43 runs. So we're staying fairly busy. Fortunately, I have nothing new to report from Pierce on the engine 2. We're looking at next year sometime for that repair to happen. I'll probably follow up with them later this week or next week to see if I can get some more information. My car had a belt fail on the way to a run. We had it repaired at Eddie's. And if you notice tonight when you came in, the rain garden looks a little bit better. It's not quite as full of weeds. Freddie cleaned that up for us. The soil and water folks trained them on how to take care of that. They were able to take care of a lot of that stuff, so it looks a little bit better than it did.
Pass on to them that we appreciate that.
I already have, but I will make sure Ryan hears that in the morning. Southwest Fire Academy, as you know, we started that process with the Southwest City School District, we're going to be doing a firefighter 2 course through their senior year. We did interviews last Friday and Monday, yesterday. There are a total of 16 students that are going to take part. Of the initial 24 applicants, we had several students decline. They're going to stay with what their original plans were, or whatever. I think a lot of that has to do with the COVID virus and things like that, and the uncertainty that's there. My understanding is that class will be totally online through the virtual learning through Christmas break, and then get them hands-on, hopefully. I'm not sure how that's going to work if the school doesn't come back to a in-person session. I'm not really sure how it's going to work. So I don't know what the rules are as far as that goes. One other announcement, on Wednesday, August 3rd, I received notification that the Department of Civil 2019, fiscal year 2019, Assistance Firefighter Grant, in an amount of $107,999.72. This will allow us to replace all of our mobile and portable radios. As you know, I think we discussed over the last couple of years, and we purchased several portables. A lot of our radios have been deemed obsolete by the manufacturer. They're just basically technologically out of date, which means Motorola is no longer making parts for them. So that becomes hard to maintain those radios when you can't find the parts, and when you do find them, they're fairly expensive. This will allow us to replace all 8 of our mobiles, 15 of our portable radios at a cost of just $5,100.81 to the township. The rest of that money comes from the federal government. With this award, in the past, essentially 3 years since 2017, we've been fortunate enough to secure over $582,000 in funding through the AFG alone. We've gotten several other smaller grants. We've completed 6 major projects with these funds. So that's another fantastic bit of news for us. We also have one more grant in the pipeline that I feel very confident about, that we're going to receive that as well. So can't say any more at this point, but I feel very confident we're going to receive that one. So
And we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for all the grants that you work on. It saves taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, out of that 582,000, just so you know, that we completed the ventilation system you see here, turnout gear, our air packs we wear, the compressor, the new brush truck is sitting over here. What else? All the hose and also appliances, replace every piece of fire hose that we own. All of that is over $582,000. It's cost the township $29,000. So we've done quite a bit of work here over the last 4 or 5 years, replacing needed equipment through that grant program. So, and now the radios, and hopefully an ambulance. We'll see. I feel pretty confident about it, but again, time will tell. The phones, if you notice, there's no phones in here. They come and run the wire for it. I inquired about our switch date. Kevin from Grove City IT said they have approved that switch over, and we should have a date within the next week or two to get that done. So we should switch our phones here fairly soon. It's been a long time coming. I do have several requests this evening. The first I would ask for the board for resolution to reinstate Tyler Burleson as a part-time member of the department. I recently removed him for an activity. He actually met with Lieutenant Will and myself. He's interested in staying on. He had an address change and didn't receive the letter I had sent out to him. So he would have responded to that letter and not ever been taken off the roster. So I'd ask him to just go ahead and reinstate him. I haven't transferred him his file. Going through the whole rehiring process.
Paula, is the next resolution number 60? I'll make resolution number 60-8-11-20, reinstate Tyler Wilson, part-time member of the fire department. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call? Yes.
As we talked last week a little bit about the CARES Act money and some of the uses for that, I secured a quote from our IT folks for computers to allow our staff to work remotely from home when needed, or as in the case of one of our lieutenants who was quarantined for 2 weeks, he could work from home as well. So I would ask the board resolution to purchase 6 Dell Latitude 7400 computers from Dell at a cost of $5,531.04. Funds from this purchase are made available by the CARES Act funding that the township received. This will allow essential employees of the township to be able to work remotely as needed during our current pandemic and any other subsequent issues.
Any discussion? I'll make resolution 61-8-11-20. Purchase 6 Dell Latitude 7400 from Dell at a cost of $5,500.
I can't turn that off. I apologize. Okay, it should be done.
Do I have a second? Roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
To go along with those computers that were just purchased, we need a resolution to purchase 6 Microsoft Office licenses from CDW at a cost of $1,953.42. Again, funds are made available for the CARES Act and on the cost of township anything. Again, essential work. Employees of the township will be able to work remotely as needed.
I'll make resolution 62-8-11-20 to purchase 6 Microsoft Office licenses from CDWG at a cost of $1,953.42. Funds coming from the CARES Act fund. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Sure.
That 1953 for all 6 of them.
Yes, no, that is for all 6. They are.
That's where you have to renew that each year, correct?
No, that's Microsoft Office 365. I don't believe this is just Office, regular Office. I don't believe that's renewable every year, but I can check with Joe on that. They are $325.57. So that's all 6.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
We'll give the medic a second to get out the door here. Along with the CARES Act funding, I would ask the board for resolution to purchase a TSI model 8048 tester for mobile fire equipment for $18,575. What this device allows us to do is fit test all of our members for SCBA masks, our APR half face shields, and our N95 masks used during the pandemic. Again, the cost will come from the CARES Act funding. Talk to somebody in the state of Ohio. This is part of the CARES Act for this purchase. So, just to make sure it was actually part of that. But currently, we do fit testing once a year. We get the fit tester from Jackson Township. And essentially, if you don't get fit tested in the window that we have the fit tester, our guys aren't getting fit tested. So this will allow us to do fit testing at any point in time, whenever we want. And also fit test for the half face shield or the half face mask, the EPRs that we have, which have the filters on the sides, and then the N95s as well. So it's definitely something that's going to be a benefit to the department long term.
Any discussion? I'll make resolution 63-8-11-20 to purchase a TSI model 8048 fit tester from Gopher Fire Equipment for $18,575. Funds coming from the CARES Act. Do I have a second? Roll call? Yes. Yes.
And the last thing I have for you this evening is I would ask the board for a resolution to purchase the ESO software that I presented to you last meeting. The department at a first year cost of $18,678. You'll notice that's a reduction from what we talked about last meeting. That savings is over, additional savings is $1,850. I talked to him after our discussion, expressed some concerns and whatnot. He was able to get a little bit more of a reduction for us. Also added in some more data transfers at no cost. So we're getting almost all of our data transferred from the current software into the new ESO software at basically no charge. As we talked about last meeting, we're using 3 different software vendors for our needs. This product, the ESO product, is a little bit more expensive, especially the first year, but even ongoing, it's a little bit more expensive. But it's going to allow us to streamline all of our processes into one single software, save our guys time and effort. As I told you last meeting, we hired 2 people. I had to go into 3 different softwares and put all of their demographic information in 3 times. It took me about an hour and a half that next morning to get it all done and whatnot. So it will definitely save us a lot of time. The data sharing component of it with our neighboring departments is another key feature of the product that I'd really like to use this product. So ongoing annual costs after this initial year will be $11,972, just $23 more than our current vendor. So I'd ask the board for a resolution for the project.
This is your budget for this year?
Yeah.
At one time, we could save some money on the shot of it.
Probably not for free, but some of that training will be done locally rather than by the company. Save some money. They're not going to come off of hospital training. I tried to talk to them a little bit about that. Basically, what we've got in front of us is what we've got. Initially, when I started talking to them about this product back in April, we were at $28,000 for the first year, so they've come off $10,000 for us already, just to try to get us on board with the customer. The advantage is, and I realize there's, it is a cost this year, but the advantage is, again, number one, we're gonna save time and effort here at the firehouse. And number two, the data sharing that we're gonna be able to do with our neighboring departments that we're running mutual aid with on a daily basis is key. Having that component to be able to transfer reports from one iPad to another is something we can't do now. We're duplicating our work and things like that. So it's just a kind of the next step in our software evolution here. I know Prairie's using it, Jackson's using it, Scioto is using it, Jefferson's moving towards it right now. They're in setup process, but we're going to be here hopefully in a couple of weeks. So, like I said, I will do everything I can to reduce the cost of that training as well as I possibly can, using local folks to train us. Like I said, Jefferson's using it, Jackson's using it, Prairie's using it, so we may be able to take advantage of those types of things. We already have members of our department trained in that. We won't have to pay for it. There are certain components that we're going to have to train on, understand how to work, especially the back end of it, inspection module, the Lieutenant Moore and whoever his successor is going to be are going to have to learn how to use the back end of that, set it up, and do those types of things. I would do my very best to reduce that cost. 18,678 would be very high.
I'll make resolution 64-8-11-20 to purchase the ESO software for the department at a first-year cost of no more than $18,678. The ongoing annual cost for this product after the initial year will be $11,973, which is just $1,325 more than we're currently paying for that. Wait a second. Roll call? Yes. Yes.
And just a quick coronavirus update. I don't know if you've seen the news conference today. There's by my calculations, there's 18,230 active cases in Ohio. There's been 102,826 total cases, 18,885 presumed recovered, and unfortunately 3,708 COVID deaths. Our county remains at level 3, so we're still under the mask order and all those types of things. So, that's what I have for this evening, unless you guys have anything for me. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. We will move on to old business, and I will make resolution 65-8-11-20 for a salary continuation for an injured worker, which would be from beginning at July 26, 2000 for the next 45 days. Do I have a second? Roll call? Yes. Yes. Okay. And also under old business, Ed and I attended a recycling cart demo at Swaco last week. There were 2 companies there. All the parts will be blue, since that is a universal color representing recycling. And I also attended a virtual meeting on Friday with Swaco, members from Swaco and local waste about our upcoming contract, which expires the end of this year, and with any problems that we've had. And one of the things that the owner of local waste told me, they were installing 5 cameras on each truck to keep track of what's going on the best that they can. And also,
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure you see if there's any questions about the contract.
Why don't you just come on and do your part now?
My name is James Weaver. I'm the controller at Local Waste, and I also manage the municipal contracts. Just wanted to come here and show my face and let everybody know that we're here to answer any questions you might have. And we're really excited to continue the relationship we've had with Pleasant Township and with the consortium communities as well. And any concerns or questions, I'd like to address those now and see if I can fix them. And if there's ever any problems, as soon as I can hear about them, I can get them fixed.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, welcome.
Sorry I missed you.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure you didn't miss me before you.
Does anybody have any questions? Pardon? We've not made a decision on that yet, a formal decision.
You can, either way, you can rent containers from us if you'd like. The contract includes an 18-gallon bin, just like this right here. But
Close all the stuff out of them.
we do have lids for those as well, if you upon request, but they're distributed without lids.
We are in
I don't believe we have
discussion.
lids here at the station.
We're in discussion with,
Okay.
Swaco, partnering with them, that they have gotten grant money. And for right around $5, I don't think it's quite $5, we can get it's like that blue
We
one.
said the containers over there. They
So,
dropped it off last week.
but
That's when they were gonna be here.
with those, everybody has to have one. If you choose not to have one of those, you can't use one of those. So, we just have not made a formal decision on that.
So they said you can't have an 18-gallon bin.
They just said that, they say that when we were there?
But you can refuse one.
Yes, you
Yeah,
can
we'll still-
refuse one.
And if you set out your bin,
Or
if you set out the 18-gallon.
we asked that question, they said no. That came from Swaco.
We're gonna keep everything the exact same, the service level, the people who've already opted out, got a farm, take care of the trash different way, everything's exactly the same as far as. And we pick up those carts a lot of other places anyway. That is the same size cart there, that's a 65-gallon cart. And that's the size that you would have for the section. So.
The opt-out is not in our contract. How do we get that in there? Should we have Joe Durham write that up, or
You can have Joe Durham do that. It's not going to be some of ours. I've actually, we went through an entire contract with the village of Northport without signing anything. We're kind of, we'll just do what we say. That's the way they want it. It's no big deal. A lot of times when we re-up contracts, we don't have people go through that whole process again. It's just kind of a painful process.
so can we have Joe write something up, and then do you want him to send it to you to review it? Or
That's perfectly fine. I don't personally think that's necessary, especially in an area where the township's not going to pick up the bill if the resident doesn't pay. If you want to opt out, just don't pay your first bill. You opted out, essentially. So it's whatever you're most comfortable with. I've seen it both ways. It's really just a technical thing.
And there's,
Are you our contact person?
I certainly will take that. I've got someone on my team that takes those. She's in charge of the customer service department. I can get her contact information. But if
Other than the dispatcher?
yeah, that's not the dispatcher. So she handles those, but I'm always available to be on my cell phone, night or day. I handle those types of calls. If she has a problem, if it gets escalated to me, I would direct it. So I would help. Okay, I've not passed on business cards at this time with coronavirus, but I will.
I emailed you a list, so if you look at your email,
along
right,
with.
right now, my phone number right now is, my name's James Weaver. My cell phone number is 740-503-9729. And my email address is jweaver, JWEAVER, @wasteservices.com.
Is this the number that was on that email, or is this your
Yeah,
personal?
that's my personal cell phone number, but it's on the email as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I've answered calls at crazy times. You have no idea. But it's part of the job, and it's what we get paid to do. So we're gonna pick up the trash, and if we've got to do that, we're gonna do it. We'll do it.
With the opt-out, everybody that signed up now, that will just carry over. We don't have to repeat letters and everything.
Right, because what we would have to do to repeat all of that would be, we would have to take a new download of all the current residents in the township, upload that into our system, and verify it. And it would be kind of an issue in the first place. But like I said, as long as the township approves of someone not wanting to be in the program, that's fine. The only thing that is in the contract is that no other hauler is allowed in the township. And that's the biggest thing.
Do you know off the top of your head how many residential pickups that we have right now?
I do not, I don't remember.
I've seen the number 1,700, but I don't know if that's all the households or if that is excluding the opt-out, which I believe it's excluding the opt-out, but we need that number for those recycle.
1,700. It's because when I pulled this report for this data, those are active customers.
Okay.
So yeah, 1,700 is a good number.
So that's how many recycle.
Yeah, and you might get a couple extra. And the only thing to really think about with the recycle parts is you didn't have to service them. Right? We're doing it, we service them.
If we could get one of those for less than $5, that's not a month or a quarter, that's the total cost of that. That's a good thing to offer our residents.
That's a really good price, especially so.
Unfortunately, it might fall on our, probably fall on our road department to repair that.
That means that I would recommend the Rare Pacific. Which one? Rare Pacific. Yeah. We've got a really good product. That's all we do. And we've got cans that are 15 years old.
How about the toters?
Toters got a good brand. It's more of a commercialized one. Lots of stuff that like Rare Pacific. They're take the.
Jim, I will get the guys that also around like, I got two of the 65 gallon. One of them is broken off.
Well, if you got one of our containers and the lid's broken off, just.
I own two papers, but it's that style.
Okay.
They just, I mean, I know they're in a hurry, they do a good job.
Yeah.
And they do awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you give me your address, I can get you something figured out for that. But, typically if it's not the container that we provide, we don't guarantee that they'll work for an extended period of time. And some brands do get more brittle after being used.
I didn't really get it.
Yeah, so the container rentals for this contract, I believe, is $3 a month in the contract, and to rent one. And then, yeah, $3 a month for a container rental, and that's for the size. The regular one, that size is 65. The bigger one for trash is a 95 gallon. That's probably too long. It's all the same price. But yeah, that's the benefit of running a container. If in the next contract, have parts included in the cost. If then if there is a problem, the wheels fall off, breaks, whatever, we're gonna come out and sort it back, get it out for you.
Well, you do that anyway with your trash.
With the containers that we own, we do that, yeah.
Trash, we're talking about recycling, so recycle.
And we wouldn't be able to recycle things.
Right.
With the-
But you can still rent the trash rollout from
Right. We'll start an account and we'll bridge you for recycling. There would be a charge for that. I would have to figure out how to do that, and that would be kind of a one-off situation, would be covered in the contract. So we could discuss that and figure that out. Certainly something pretty reasonable, especially for on the river. That's the benefit of having a contract.
If you could figure that out for us, that would be great.
Sure. And I'm sure you have the contact info for.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Fantastic. Great. All right. So, okay. So recycling only. Any other questions or comments?
If you send that on the list of the next bill, what is it?
Yeah. So when we redo the contract, I think at the beginning of the year we always send out the SWACO guidelines. And the SWACO has the guidelines that's approved for what's recyclable and what's not recyclable. So I can certainly, I think we'll include that in the insert at the beginning of the year is what we typically do.
If anything has a label that says recyclable, like that.
Yeah, so as long as it's just.
I don't think so.
If it says it's
Very
recyclable.
specific is what they say.
That's what I mean, and that's, and you get some products.
When this new contract comes out, they're gonna, SWACO is gonna offer education, they're gonna send a mailer to each household and tell you exactly, they're gonna give you like a refrigerator magnet, shows what's recyclable.
What I'll do in the meantime is I'll forward you guys the recycling brochure from SWACO, and maybe we can even have those. I'll have drop off a stack over here. Drop off the links for these containers.
You have access to get online? If you look up recycling with SWACO, or look up SWACO's website, it will tell you on there what you can recycle.
Because I don't understand that, I don't understand why this needs.
So
Like a yogurt container cannot be recycled.
That's a little bit more complicated. There's only one recycling facility in Central Ohio, and that's Trustees. And there's only specific things that can be used at this point. Part of the tariff war with China, they shut down a lot of the exports that were going overseas for that. And China is trying to get their own manufacturing facilities to recycle their own stuff before they take our trash. They call that trash. And that's affecting a number of other markets like paper and things like that are also being driven down because there's an excess of it here. And that's why recycling, it's actually $2 less to get rid of a ton of recycling than it is for a ton of trash. It costs us $35 to drop it off per ton. So it's not a huge cost saving. A lot of communities have gone away from it and they're just throwing everything away from it. It's kind of sad to see.
All right.
Thank you.
It was nice to meet you guys. Thank you for having me. And I'll get you a number of bins for here, or the lids for here.
Yeah, we keep bins on back and you can come to the door and grab one. That's what never seen a lid.
I'll drop some lids off and get a price for recycling only, and then I'll email the brochure out and get some of those dropped off as well. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, business? New business? You both received some complaints for Luton's Road. We had a on that. Anything else under new business? Okay, Paula?
Okay, received, an email that the rule, Franklin. There was one actually scheduled for today. Burnham and Flowers sent out, a list, updated list. The 2020 served health insurance. And pretty much everything else I have is emails or flyers and this one.
Right, is there anything else?
Are you taking any public comments on some of the events from this afternoon? Project on Lambert Road? I'm with the Darby Creek Association, and I'm also a resident here at Pleasant Township, and I just have a few comments I'd like to make.
Sure, go right ahead.
Mind if I stand up?
Do you, where's the best place?
So you just come up here and anywhere up front will be fine.
Sure, yes.
Yes.
Over in this area, please.
I know that's
I know you don't want to be
feeling.
standing behind, with your back to people, but
I do appreciate trustee Sheets. Who is here tonight, my name is Lori Wade, and I'm a Pleasant Township resident, and I'm also on the board of the Creek Association. I was also on the 2010 Comprehensive Land Use Committee for the township here. Was honored to be asked to be there as a resident input. The reason I'm here tonight is I'm here to talk about my opposition to the project that is being proposed down on the old Amon site on Lambert Road. Not against business here. The biggest reason is because it is in the Darby Creek watershed. In 2019, the Darby Creek Big Darby Creek was listed as one of the most endangered rivers in the country, made the list of the top 10, and that is put out by American Rivers. That is after being taken off of that list for several years due to the work of the local municipalities through the Darby Accord and also some of the Darby Creek Association. Unfortunately, because of increased development around the Darby watershed from north of here to south of here, our waters are beginning to degrade a little bit. We're seeing some more mussel die off now that we're trying to get ahead of. Not really sure what's causing all of that, but and there's several endangered species, endangered and threatened species within the Darby watershed. It is one of the most diverse wildlife in the world.
get out the door. Required to speak medical. I don't see anything on that one.
Local leaders prioritize protections of the Big Darby Creek and its clean water. The clean water of one of the Midwest's most pristine streams. It will be irreparably damaged by reckless development. Darby Creek is often referred to as a hidden gem because it is tucked away so close to a large metropolitan area. It draws thousands of visitors to this area to enjoy the hiking, the biking, the kayaking, the canoeing, the fishing. The children learn to respect and enjoy nature on its shores. I am not against business within our township, as I said. I'm just against this particular development happening with them, within the watershed of the Darby Creek. Knowing the lay of the land of Ammons, it is on a downhill slope. My question that I didn't get to ask, and I'm sure you will, is even with the retention pond on that property, where are they going to do all the spills of gasoline, motor oil, brake fluid, that kind of stuff, for being washed down within the watershed and endangering our creek? So I do appreciate you guys, your time. I moved out to die, resident of Grove City, lifelong resident of Grove City till I moved out here. This is what brought me to Pleasant Township. And this area was the rural feel of this, beautiful parks. I live right on Darby Creek out here, so I have a vested interest in, my beautiful sanctuary that I have out here within the community. This brings residents and visitors to our area to show off what we have and what we have available here. With them, I know he said he wasn't going to pave it. I don't know how they're going to have all this truck traffic in and out of there without paving that lot right now. So it's a lot of impervious surface, a lot of runoff, and a lot of possible contamination to that creek. So I would ask you as the trustees and the voice of our township to use that voice in opposition to this development, unless they can come up with some solid planning on how to protect that waterway and watershed. So thank you again for allowing me a few minutes here to talk to you. My opinion only, and I am here as a resident of the township. I'm not actually representing Darby Creek Association. So I do not have their take on this development. So just mention that because I am a board member, and I have that right in my backyard. I want to keep it as beautiful and pristine as anything.
Thank you. Okay.
My name is Mayor Michael Lytle. I'm the mayor for the village of Harrisburg. Just to let the residents know and other township members, the village is going to be currently under construction. We are signing a contract with the Franklin County Engineers Office, as well, and Shelley and Sand is going to be our contractor. We will repaving Columbus Street, High Street, on up through Columbus Drive, North Drive, and down part of Hillside. Those areas are in desperate need. They haven't had any attention done to them in quite a while. And if you've been through the village, it's a lot of potholes. We're trying, we've done our best to try to maintain and patch them up, but through government grants and with the help of the engineer's office, we are getting the streets, which is good for us. Thursday, I will be meeting with the engineers and Shelley and Sand, who is the contractor, and I will get a definite date and kind of hopefully get an idea of how they're going to be moving through the village as far as construction to notify residents, and I'm sure they'll probably want that as well. So as of right now, they've already started some repairs up through Columbus Drive on the main road.
Especially if roads are accessible, we should be okay. If there's going to be a road that's closed, yeah, need to know.
Right.
If they're going to tear a road completely out where we can't access that part of it.
I'm hoping to
if they're just grinding and paving, you should have access.
Yeah, I'm hoping to ask those kind of questions.
I know they'll probably a lot of times they'll do especially buildings out like that. They'll close a section of the road to the public, but we'll still have access. If we show up with a fire truck and truck.
The other thing the village is working on is the old elementary school property. We will be hopefully annexing that property in. That property is going to remain a park. We have a small government grant allowing that property to be used as park. We're hoping to put a baseball diamond on it, maybe concession stands, restaurants. It's between what we have and the grant money and what we could raise, privately or whatever to do the concession stand, the baseball diamond. And just, we would also like to upgrade the pickup as well. So that's coming up as well. It's financing that little section. It's 3.2 acres into the village. And it will remain a park. The school district still has final say-so on it, so to speak. But they've given us a blessing, to develop it as a park. But under the contract, if they want to take the property back and build a school on it, they can take the property back and build a school. Okay, so that's it as far as village. I have my pastor from Harrisburg Health United Methodist here, but also as well.
Thank you. That's my first trustee meeting. It was a very interesting one too. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Lisa Taylor. I've been pastor here for a year now. Been trying to get acclimated to the different villages and communities around. What I've discovered at Harrisburg is that a lot of the ministries that they have done over the past few years, all the stuff has been going out of the community. And I want to change that. So if you guys do any type of toy drives or anything like that at Christmas time, we collect toys, and right now they're going to the west side of Columbus, and they're servicing 2 zip codes there that don't even come close to Harrisburg. So I want us to put that into Harrisburg, put that into Glendale. So if there's any events that are going on here, if you can let us know. If there's any way we can help, if you can food drives, toy drives, anything like that, call on us because we would love to get involved in Glendale as well. We're looking to do some gift baskets, some food baskets, and to maybe adopt some families at Christmas time from Harrisburg, Darbyville, anywhere in the surrounding area. We know it's been a tough year, people losing jobs, being reduced hours, different things like that. So if you know of anyone that's in need of help, if you can reach out to the church and let me know, we would love to reach out to them. That's why I'm here. I just wanted to show you my face and introduce myself. So let us know because we'd love to partner with you and get you guys into Harrisburg for any of our. We had plenty of events planned for this year, and of course they were all canceled. So I'd like to open up those communication channels. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Do you mind if I said my 2 cents worth in?
Sure, go ahead.
Good evening, my name is Bert Audro, and it's been 10 years since Lori and I worked on the development plan. Okay? I appreciate your comment, personal point of view. I'm also the vice president of the Timberlake Association. So we had our annual membership meeting last month. Session was the rezoning of the Canadian Park. There was some opposition. Residents of the Timberlake, that's a community of about 200 homes. We have Timberlake homeowners that do anything you can to recommend to the zoning commissions and the county commissioners that zoning request we disagree. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Roll call?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you everyone for coming.
Yes, ma'am.